Cardinal Books. We get no respect. They're unappreciated. They're overlooked. But you know what? They're a series that has some really good books in there. It's a series that when you talk to paperback collectors, nobody collects. It's one of those series. But we'll see if we can do something to change that now. Hi, I'm Gary Lovisi, and we're going to talk about Cardinal Books. Cardinal Books was an imprint of pocketbooks. They began the numbering system with a C, and the number started with number 1 in 1951, and they went to number 458, C458, in 1962. So they had over 450 books in the series. Unbelievable. They basically they were the 35-cent imprint for pocketbooks selling books for a higher price. So the books are thicker. As you can see, a lot of them are thicker. And they published a lot of historical novels, some crime, and mystery, some science fiction, a little bit of everything, but a lot of historical novels, and rather thick historical novels for that time, and at 35 cents. And they had great cover artists. They had Clark Hawlings and James Meese and many other famous and excellent artists who did the covers on the books. I have a little group of them. I don't really collect them because there's 450 in the series. I have a couple of dozen and a few others here and there. But I like some of the historical ones, and the cover art is really, really nice on these. So we're gonna talk a little bit about one of the sought after books in the series that's quite collectible, and about a Joan Crawford movie that ties in with Cardinal Books, interestingly enough. So I'm going to put on my glasses so I can see, and we're going to take a look at Cardinal Books. So Cardinal C26 is Taproots by James Street. It is a novel of the Civil War, and it's cover art is by Walter Baumhofer, famed pulp artist. And Cardinal Books, usually they have on the back the cover artist, so they list the cover artist most of the time. And they're quite nice editions. The gold spine, unlike the pocketbooks of this era, had silver spines. So the Cardinals had gold spines, and then they, of course, 35 cents. They have the Cardinal Bird, Cardinal Book. But they were 35 cents because you can see the book it's a thicker book. It's actually almost like 2 paperbacks. So they, and this is a famous, excellent historical novel about the Civil War, and the cover art is by Walter Baumhofer. Now, C4 is Cutlass Empire by F. Van Wyck Mason, and that's a great pirate novel. And this one is cover art by Al Schmidt. C68 is The Parasites by Daphne du Maurier, and kind of a noir novel of young people, and this is cover art is by Tom Dunn. So Tom Dunn was another great artist, and you can see the quality of the artwork on these Cardinals is really something to behold. It's really beautiful, excellent work. Number C187 is the famous juvenile delinquent novel, The Blackboard Jungle by Evan Hunter. And this is by Clark Hawlings, and who I mentioned before, another mainstay of the Cardinal line. A lot of these publishers also did, a lot of these painters also did covers for the regular pocketbook line, but they seem to excel in the Cardinal line. Number C365 is Return of the Eagles by F. Van Wyck Mason, a Roman novel, historical novel about the Roman Empire, and it's by Daniel Green. Daniel Green was a fellow who did a lot of covers. This is probably one of his early ones, but he did a lot of covers in the 60s and 70s. All these Cardinal books are from the 50s, and some of them from the early 50s, the earlier numbers. They also did some, oddball items, different things. Number C167 is the Baseball Almanac for 1955. And that's a photo cover. It's Paul Bacon Studios who did that. And it's by Turkin. There were also, there's number C377 is Perry Mason novel, The Case of the Screaming Woman by Earl Stanley Gardner. And the cover painting on this one is by Charles. Doesn't give a last name. I don't know who that might be. Great, nice, good girl art. Cover, painting, Perry Mason, thriller. There were quite a few Perry Mason and other mysteries in the Cardinal series. They were reprinted from the pocketbook series from the 40s. Cardinal C228 is Carolina Corsair by Don Tracy. And pirate novel. This is the story of Blackbeard the pirate. And the cover art is by James Meese, another mainstay in Cardinal Books and other paperback art. He was a terrific painter, a terrific artist. And Don Tracy, the author, is a really, really good author. He wrote historical novels, but he also wrote hard-boiled crime. I'm a Don Tracy fan, and if you're looking for some really good stuff to read in the historical and in the hard-boiled crime noir genres, then you check out Don Tracy's books. I think he's a sleeper, and I think he's somebody's kind of neglected, and really, really good author. C124 is Frank Yerby's The Saracen Blade, novel of the Crusaders. Again, it's a James Meese cover. And I believe Frank Yerby was one of the early African-American authors who did historical novels. And he did a lot of really good historical novels set in different eras. Next book is A Matter of Conviction, Giant Cardinal 94 by Evan Hunter. This is a giant cardinal, even though it's not exactly a giant, not exactly that thick. And it's Glenn Ford on the cover. It's a movie edition. Another one that I have kind of beat up is Cardinal Giant 56, Strangers When We Meet by Evan Hunter, a novel of infidelity, story of unfaithful husband, his temptation, fears, his entrapment. And the cover art on here is by Barry Phillips. Barry Phillips was a mainstay in for pocketbook, for gold medal books, certainly, but then he did covers for everybody. And he was fast, and he was a quick artist who always got work in on time, quick. Cardinal C249 is Captain Rebel by Frank Yerby, lusty story of a Confederate gunrunner and the woman who competed for his love. And the cover art is by Charles Binger. and you can see his signature down here. This is a Civil War novel of the Confederate Navy. Number C40 is The Disappearance by Philip Wiley, science fiction novel. Philip Wiley did a lot of science fiction, fantastic novels. Really good work. He wasn't thought of as a science fiction novel writer particularly, but he did some really good work. This is cover art is by Tom Dunn. So these already we've shown a smattering of Walter Baumhofer, Tom Dunn, Barry Phillips, Al Schmidt, Clark Hollings, and many others. Basically a who's who of James Meese. Basically a who's who of the terrific artists of the 50s and 60s in various genres. And here's one that's C319, New Tales of Space and Time, edited by Raymond J. Healy. This was one of the few science fiction books that Cardinal published. And the cover art here is by Paul Lair, who was a terrific science fiction artist. It's a good book, good stories in here. And it's one of the few of the science fiction that appear in the Cardinal series. There's not a lot of them. And the last one on this group is C172, Silver Street Woman by Les Savage Jr. And the cover art again is by Barry Phillips. It's a story of life on the Mississippi, a kind of a Western Southern novel. Les Savage Jr. wrote a lot of Westerns, and Barry Phillips, I believe it said Barry Phillips. Yeah, Barry Phillips did the cover art. And so we're going to look at those, and we're going to also look at a little, in Paperback Parade 108, I did a little notice in my paperback talk about the movie The Best of Everything. And that's a movie from 1959 with starred Joan Crawford. And the interesting thing about it, it is a movie about three women who work in a New York paperback publishing house, and what goes on, the machinations and the politics and all of that of publishing in around 1959 in Manhattan, paperback publishing. And the interesting thing about it is that throughout the movie they show the books and they show original art on the wall. So here you can see, and the books that they're showing are Cardinal books. So this is
They're not called Cardinal.
What?
They're not called
They're
Cardinal.
not called Cardinal in the movie, but the actual books that are on the, they show the book rack here, and they show paperback. No, the book rack it's a paperback book rack, a wire rack, okay, spinner rack, and they show original art on the walls of offices of the various people, like Joan Crawford's office in the movie. Other people, editors in the movie, have artwork on the wall, original artwork, and they also have books on display that new books that have come out that are on display. And when I went to Avon Books and to other publishers in the 80s and 90s to visit friends that worked in publishing houses, it was the same thing where they had the new books that were coming out, were all on display, and you just actually they had piles of them, and you could just pick out ones that you wanted and just take them home. It was like kind of really cool. But here you've got a Perry Mason murder mystery, Cardinal book, and they're all Cardinal books. So all the books in the movie were Cardinal books. So that's kind of interesting. That was Joan Crawford in The Best of Everything, and that's in Paperback Parade 108. Mentions that. And the other thing is that probably the key book in the series, like the value of Cardinal Books is not big. They're not collected, they're not collectible, they're not worth a lot of money. Even in really nice condition, they're $10, $15, maybe $20 books for a really mint copy of certain things, certain ones. But they're generally not collected as a series at all, and just certain books that maybe people are interested in certain subjects. But the one book that's the big, so-called big book in the series, The Man with the Golden Arm, by Nelson Algren, which is a crime, drug, dope book, and the cover art shows the guy shooting up with the works. So it's a very collectible and sought-after book in the for collectors of juvenile delinquent and drug paperbacks. But also, it's a book. It's the only book in the series, in the Cardinal series, that has a dust jacket. So it has a dust jacket. And the interesting thing is that the dust jacket covers pocketbook number 575. So I don't know, some of these dust jackets, some of them don't come off because they were actually glued on the books, in the pocket books. So this is a pocketbook paperback, 575, and it had a dust jacket of a Cardinal. See, this is where it was glued on from the publisher. They came that way, pocket books with a dust jacket glued on. And that's the rare dust jacketed Cardinal number C31 with cover art by Stanley Meltzoff. And you can see it's interesting because the original pocketbook came out, and the cover art is just kind of nothing. I mean, is this book about card playing? I mean, they're showing the four suits in cards, so it kind of is very misleading as to what this book might be about. Then they put the dust jacket on it to sell it, and here you've got, you're not misled at all about what this book is about. This is about crime, gangs, juvenile delinquents, and drugs, dope, heroin, and that subject. So that's the key, one of the key books, the big money books in this series. Every series has to have one that's a big money book. But I think that the Cardinals are all pretty nice. And the interesting thing about them is usually you find them, these are books that you'll find at shows and places for $1 or $2, sometimes 50 cents. Again, people don't collect them, and you find them a lot of times in pretty nice condition. And they're really beautiful books. They're really beautifully made. The artwork, again, I'm telling you, is terrific. The artists are a veritable who's who of paperback artists. So it's a great series. It's overlooked, it's been neglected, but I hope that this video maybe will open your eyes to some of the interesting things that are in the Cardinal series. It's 450 plus books, so there's a lot to look at. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up and a like and share, and thanks for looking. See you next time.